Hello and welcome to a little mini introduction with my friend April Shippy. I want to introduce you to her, let you get to know her a little bit, and then we're going to tell you about an opportunity you have to learn some more from her. So April, you and I met on Facebook, the wide world of Facebook,
Right.
shortly after the Call to Peace retreat of 2021. I think some mutual friend introduced us to each other. And we have both become certified through the Give Her Wings Academy. So that's exciting. And that's like one of the ways that we connected. And just tell the people, the ladies, a little bit about what it is that you do and what you specialize in.
Well, I grew up enjoying personal finances to the point where I was balancing my parents' checkbook when I was 8. Apparently, that's not normal. So I continued on with that love of, I like the logical, just how money works, I guess. And I ended up with a degree in business administration with an emphasis in finance. I've worked in mortgages, banking, corporate finance. And then when I decided to quit my job to stay home with kids, I miss working with people a lot. So as much
Big
as I love,
people,
yeah,
big people,
big people.
adults.
Yes. So as much as I love, I've always wanted to be able to stay home with my kids. My kids are still elementary age. I miss working. And so in order to balance the be home with the kids versus helping people, and also, like you said, we went to the Give Her Wings Academy, and just having my eyes open to this entire world, trauma, everything that's going on that I didn't understand 5 years ago,
Right.
I'm grateful to God my eyes were opened to this whole community. I have been so blessed working with women who have come out of trauma, and it's been some of the most amazing people I've met personally. But so I tried to figure out how to marry what I knew, and how would that work with trauma informed anything. But I didn't come across to me. I think someone suggested financial coaching. I'm like, that's a thing? Like, people need help with that?
Yes, people do.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's kind of where that came, was the trauma informed financial coach, basically. So
Very huge need. It is a huge need because there are a lot of financial coaches that exist, but there are not many that understand trauma and abuse. And even coaches, financial coaches, can become very like abusive when saying you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. And survivors have finally escaped that, being told what they have to do all the time. And they need to be given choice. They need to be given agency, and even just clarifying financial abuse. Like, that's a thing, and then a lot of people don't even realize. So maybe a couple examples. Financial abuse could be, just withholding. And maybe your husband is the breadwinner of the family and you stay at home with the kiddos, like a lot of us, and you don't even know what he makes, and you don't know how much things cost and how much is going out versus coming in. Refusing to get a job and provide for the family is another example of financial abuse, and there are husbands that do that. Giving you a tiny allowance and controlling every single aspect and looking at receipts and questioning. If you, as a wife, as a caregiver, as a mother, if you don't have the freedom to just go spend $5 without breaking into a cold sweat, you are probably being financially abused. And a lot of women are just so accustomed to that, and they think that that is submitting, and they don't even question it. So for a coach to be aware of that and understand the trauma that has come from that. So this is exciting. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the Rebuilding Finances course, which I am creating for the ladies in our community. And we are going to talk about money mindsets. So you just want to give us kind of a little peek into what that conversation is going to look like?
Well, a lot of times, just like what we find when we're healing from our own traumas, a lot of our core beliefs come from childhood, and they get built upon and, weaponized against us sometimes in marriages or different kind of relationships, but also the way we learned about finances in our childhood can affect the way that how what we expected in a relationship. So maybe you had this expectation that there is conflict around money. So That's not something that, like you were saying, some people aren't even aware that there's financial abuse going on because maybe you were already comfortable with that or expected that from your childhood. Or, there's a lot of things from your childhood that could, speak to your current situation. And now that we're trying to become more aware and self-aware of ourselves to make better decisions, it's good to reflect on how we grew up with finances so that we can understand there's generally some challenges that go along with different classrooms that you've learned, and that being aware of those challenges can help you be more aware of, okay, this is where I'm going to have a challenge. So what can I do to counter that, heal that wound, move forward, whatever it is for your situation?
And there's a book you shared with me that has a lot to do with money mindset. Do you mind sharing that with us?
Yeah, does it show up? Know Yourself, Know Your Money, Rachel Cruz. She really, in this particular book, really focused on the self-awareness. She's not necessarily trauma informed, but she's leans a little more that way. So it's not abrasive necessarily, but it's more of a compassionate look at, let's be really real with how we grew up and how we function. It's good to know whether you're naturally a saver or naturally a spender, so that there's like a scale, there's a lot of scales. And she goes through a lot of that kind of stuff in that book too.
Excellent resource. You shared some things from that book with me that are just, I know I want to add that to my collection. So ladies, where can they find you?
I have Facebook. I'm on Intentional Money Coaching and on Instagram. I don't update so often because I use my time to do other things, but I am there, and it has my contact information, or just go to the website, intentionalmoneycoaching.com. And there's a button at the top that says schedule an appointment. That schedules 30 minutes with me, complimentary, just to see if we're a good fit for each other, to make sure that my approach works for what you need. And if that doesn't work, then I try to give referrals to other places so that you can find somewhere and not just kind of leave you hanging. I'll try my best to do that.
Very good. Very good. And what are just some of sort of the baseline foundational things that you work with ladies?
Like the money mindset, if you need someone to talk through that with you, because a lot of times money is seen as private. It has a lot of shame around it. There's a lot of emotions attached to money. And sometimes people just need someone to talk through their personal experience in a safe environment, someone that they can trust. Or like budgets,
Yes.
Debt reduction plans, kind of like the foundational. We want to get everything on the table. We want to know what's going on. No more hiding things, because sometimes it can be really painful to pull that out. You're already having to look at everything else depending on your situation. It can be traumatic too, but to have someone there with you to try to keep space for that pain. But also, I don't want, someone living pretending. We want to be intentional with our foundation. So I help women get a foundation on their start for their finances.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I know for me personally, rebuilding financially after trauma, abuse, chronic illness, it is something that I just kind of got thrown into. I was a stay-at-home homeschool mama. I had no college degree. I had no resume, 20 years in home. And here I was at this point in my life where I should have been finishing up with homeschooling, sitting back for a couple years, enjoying maybe some rest before grandbabies came along. And then all of a sudden it's like, you're on your own. How are you going to do this? And I know for me, the panic and the terror and the fear and all the feels. And about 2 years ago, I started becoming aware of the importance and just the value of multiple income streams. So that is why I am creating the Rebuilding Finances course, because so many women are like me. So many women just don't even know where to begin. And so in that course, I am sharing some of my personal experiences, some of the things that I have tried, and then I'm going to bring in experts like yourself to cover the places that are not my lane. I am not a business coach. I am not a finance coach. Those are not my lane at all. And I'm fully aware of that. but I am a resourcer. I am someone who likes to see a need and fill a need and just to kind of push people towards the resources. So if you would like to hear more from April about money mindsets, please jump over to the Rebuilding course. I will put the registration link in the comments here, and you are welcome to join us. And April, thank you so much for your time. And
Thank
I'll
you.
see you at the next video.